What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the For Honor Advanced guide that I'm going to be doing. I said in the beginner one that I would do an advanced one to explain all this shit, since I left off with this at the end of the last one. Some of these are pretty self-explanatory, like unblockable, your attack's unblockable, block, you block the attack, parry. Some of these are pretty eh, self-explanatory, but others I'm probably gonna have to explain and show you how it works if you don't understand. And to do so, I'm going to be doing that with specific characters. So I think I'll start with one that has most of these. All right, so BP or Black Prior has most of those on the list. We'll start with undodgeable. So undodgeable attacks are exactly how it sounds. They're just undodgeable. And the way you can tell if an attack is undodgeable is if they have this blue glow around them when they do it. So Blackprior's heavy finishers are undodgeables. So if they try to dodge it, then they can't. If they sidestep it, they still get hit. That's the point of undodgeables. Next one, we're gonna go for superior block. Superior block, basically, or another word for it, or another term, is called crushing lights. Basically, what these mean is, I think I already explained this in my last one, but I'll say it again just in case, is that characters with superior lights or crushing lights will have priority over other moves if they clash. So, for example, if you light when their attack is about to hit you. Oh, I didn't time it that time. But if you light when the opponent is about to hit you, your light becomes unblockable and is guaranteed to land. Up next, I want to talk about the counter. So, Black Prior is the only character in the game that has this. It's just exactly like it sounds. Right as you're about to get hit, you do a counter and you just get a free hit. That's literally like all there is to it. For the counter, in order to counter this, you have to guard break it. You cannot throw unblockables, any attack, bashes, whatever, because this counters anything. Literally anything. It's so stupid. It makes me want to kill myself whenever I play against a BP. The only other thing that BP has from that list is the full block, where you basically you're just guarding from all sides. So you just guard all sides at once. Usually only characters with shields have these. Some exceptions include like characters who are sidestepping get like full blocks or whatever like that, but that's on like specific characters. Otherwise, usually only the character with shields have these. And sometimes characters that do have shields don't have them. So you gotta watch out for that. And I think that's about it in terms of what BP has. I'm probably gonna have to change characters to go to another one. So, alright, so now we're here with Orochi to talk about probably one of the most difficult things to do in this game, deflects. Basically, what deflects are is instead of parrying the attack, you dodge it. So instead of parrying it like this, you would dodge in that direction just before it hits you, and you get that little like quick animation. Now, why would you ever want to do this? Because if you get it with certain characters, you get different effects. So for Orochi, firstly, it becomes unblockable. So if you get deflected by Orochi, there's nothing you can do about it. That's with all deflects. But it also causes bleed. and it is the best deflect in the game because it stops hyper armor, which is basically just armor in this game. Which is basically just regular armor in this game. That was another thing I want to talk about. All deflects do something different, but most of the time, if you're playing a character with a deflect, they it's integrated in their kit as like a core part. So like for example, I'll go to Gladiator or Glad. His deflect allows him to get immediate access to his skewer move, which does a whole bunch of damage and causes a huge chunk of bleed. So it's ideal to go for these. Now you might be thinking, oh, it's so easy to probably deflect on a heavy. No, it isn't. Because heavies, you have a 50-50 shot of them either letting it rock or feigning it. Most of the time, you're going to be using heavies against good deflect players anyways, because they're going to expect you to light, and they're going to go for the deflect off of the light, which is way more advantageous to them because it's off a light and not a heavy, because you can't feign a light. So that makes it much more risky to do lights against them if they're good at deflecting. If they're terrible at deflecting, then doesn't matter. But usually the only characters with deflects in the game are assassin characters. Shaolin is literally the only obsession. Fuck Shaolin. Hate that character. But usually they're assassin characters. That's the one thing about them. Alright, now I'm gonna go over the wall splat thing down there. So this is situational. This is a situational thing. So if you are near a wall, and let's say you guard break somebody, and you throw them into the wall, they hit the wall and get a wall splat. Now, why would you do this? Before if you get a guard break, you can just get a free heavy. But sometimes you can't get a big damage heavy. Like if you wait too long to do a character's heavy, then you can't land it via a guard break. This will be better to show with a different character. Alright, so now that I'm Warden, off of a guard break, Warden cannot land a top heavy. So if that was different because it's a training mode. But if I set the opponent to block everything, I won't be able to land it. So now that I've set the opponent to block anything, if I guard break and I go for a top heavy, doesn't work. But I can land a side heavy. And then if I throw them into the wall, then I can land the top heavy. So normally a character's top heavy will be the highest damaging heavy you can get. Hence why a side heavy does like 24 damage, and then a top heavy does 27. You're arguably gonna wanna go for the top heavy. So that's why you would wall splat. That's why you would wall splat, so you can get that big extra damage. Yes, it does cost a little bit more stam, but lots of characters really, really benefit from this, and I'll show you one just real quick. So here we have Yorm. Yorm has a special property on his heavies, specifically his unblockable heavy, that gets a wall splat if he hits them into it. This is really, really good because not only does wall splat give you heavies, but it also sets up a mix scenario for Yorm. So for example, he hits you into the wall, gets a wall splat, he can either feint the unblockable and go into a guard break and then hit you back into the wall again. He can let it rock and hit you into the wall again, or he can go for his slam and just get big, huge damage there. And he can feint all of these options. And then if you try to size it, he'll just throw you in the wall yet again. That's why near the wall, Yorm is so strong. He has so many mix reset options that put you in 50-50 scenarios where you have to guess what is he going to do. And if you guess wrong, your health bar is going to blow up. This man can get like 60 to 70% damage off of like one combo. So if I set him to have not regenerate health, and Yorm does like all this, like look at how much health you just lost from one interaction if you guessed wrong. That's insane. So that's why wall splatting is good when you're near the wall. The only other thing that I can really want to say that's pretty self-explanatory is bleed. Bleed just basically means that there are moves that you take DOT or damage over time and that you can die from. It's really stupid, but mainly the characters that have this are one, not really that good in general, or two, it's completely integrated in their kit as like you're meant to use it and play around it in your kit. Stun, pretty self-explanatory. You just make it so that their guard is invisible, they can't see where they're blocking, and they can't see the attack or what direction your attack is coming from, unless you're a god and you know what attack animations look like. Knockdown, pretty self-explanatory too. It's just you just get thrown on the ground. Some examples of this would be like sweep attacks or throws that characters have. Pushback basically just means it just launches the enemy away. A really good example of this is Shigoki's guard break heavy. He just like whacks you with his weapon, you get sent flying. Uninterruptible stance, that's literally just hyper armor, what I talked about earlier. You still take the damage, but you said tank through it. Chain attack basically means that you do, let's say you do a light and it's a chain. That means that they cannot interrupt the attack, so they have to take both hits essentially. That's the best way I can explain that. Infinite down there. Repeatable sequence until the hero runs out of stamina. That basically just means you can spam it. You spam it until they either parry, uh, they either parry, dodge, or you run out of stamina. It's pretty fun. An example of that would be Hitokiri's heavies. You can just spam heavies until they either parry it or or you run out of stamina. Soft feint, that's also pretty self-explanatory. Basically you cancel it says cancel a move during startup with another move. So like a lot of characters will have soft feint guard breaks. That means when you press heavy, instead of pressing circle to feint it and then you press your guard break button, you can just press heavy straight into guard break. You don't have to like feint it. These are really really good. Especially characters that have soft feints into like lights, like they'll throw a startup with a heavy and then either do a light or do a bash, because some characters have that. Quite a few characters have a bit of those, but for all those, that's basically about it. I only wanted to show the ones that you're probably going to be using a lot, like the wall splat, the deflex, and things like that. uh they aren't easy to master, I will say. Using especially wall splats and deflex are not easy to master. Like I said, Yorm really excels in wall breaks, and then there are some other characters who do good at wall breaks as well, but you have to know what character you're playing and how to use the moves in order to use them at the best possible potential. This game takes a lot of labbing, I will say. If you're going to learn a new character, make sure you try to figure out everything you can do from mix to combos to reads on what your opponent can do. And when you get that, then I would say that you'd be pretty good at the character. And each character has just different strengths and weaknesses. Some characters are better not near the walls, and some are. Some characters are better at dodging and deflects than going for the parries. You just have to learn what character you're playing as and what character you're playing against to know if you are a good matchup against them. And once you do that, then you'll be the best For Honor player in the entire world. And with that, I hope this guide was helpful to y'all, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out.
You can be messed up.